ready. I call the Sebastian Budget Review Advisory Committee to order. Let's all stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Let's have a roll call, please.
Mr. Napier?
Present.
Mr. Herlihy?
Present.
Mr. Hoffman?
Present.
Mr. Hall?
Present.
Ms. Serta?
Present.
Ms. Veet?
Present.
Mr. Wiragoda?
Present.
And Ms. Ring?
Here.
Thank you.
Okay, next on the agenda is approval of the minutes for the meeting of June 17th. Has everybody had a chance to look at those minutes? Is there any additions or deletions or corrections? Bruce.
Couple items. Ken, help me out with this one. I'm on the third page of the minutes, down under my area where I questioned you. The third line down, it says basically covers what are required by, it's not county standards, it's accounting standards, correct? Do you see the third line down? Mr. Kilgore explained that some of the reserves are assigned which basically cover what are required by, that's not, the word shouldn't be county, it should be accounting.
Accounting, yes.
Right, change that word.
Accounting is the right
I
term.
don't know where you are.
Okay.
What page you on, Bruce?
I'm on the third page of the draft minutes. And under the section where I questioned, on the third line down, under that first bullet point,
Okay.
instead of county, the word is accounting.
That's me.
Just strike the county.
So you want to change county to what now?
Accounting.
Accounting, okay.
Okay. Thank you.
And then I have one other, can we just, and this is just a point of mine on page 5. 1, 2, 3, fourth paragraph down, it goes, other considerations included the unsettled personnel issues. Can we make that health insurance premiums? Insurance premiums, it really is the health insurance premiums. So.
Well, it goes on after that comma and says labor contracts and insurance premiums.
Yeah, can we add the word to health so the insurance premiums aren't construed to be just, it really is all about the health insurance, right?
Well, it covers health insurance, medical insurance, dental insurance.
Well, health, medical, that's
Vision.
all health insurance,
That's all,
right?
no, because we specifically outlined health insurance in the contracts as a different as our riders or our add-on policies.
You might just say employee insurance premiums.
Have you got your liability and your automobile insurance, those quotes already in?
Those are already set,
Yeah,
yes, sir.
that's already in. See, that's where, okay.
It becomes a specific item when we're discussing in different contracts, health insurance versus the whole insurance benefit package. They're two separate.
Yeah, I kind of know what you're saying.
Yeah.
It's six
So you're
of
okay with the way it
apples and
states?
oranges.
I am.
Okay.
But I'll yield to the will of the board.
I mean, just, okay. I'll leave it alone. No
Okay.
big deal.
Any other corrections or deletions? Okay, I'll take a motion for the one amendment that Bruce had, the one change. I'll take a motion in a second.
So moved.
Motion and second. All those in favor signify by aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries unanimously. Next is discussion of the draft budget and the capital improvement plan. Ken, you're on.
Thank you very much. I have the PowerPoint here. Started off with what I presented to you previously, but I added or supplemented at the end, so I'm going to skip towards the end, where I've added an update for tonight's meeting. First, a little heads up, and part of our reasoning for scheduling the meeting tonight at this date is that we've received the DR 420 millage certification forms from the county. Those are due back to the county no later than July 30th. So I've developed the budget calendar to have the city council vote on the proposed millage on July 24th. So this meeting is an opportunity for the budget committee to possibly agree on a proposed millage based on what we either previously presented to you or present to you tonight, and then allow the city council then to consider your recommendation at their July 24th meeting. Later on, we'll talk about our next scheduled meeting and whether that would be necessary or not, but for now, let me go on with updating you on where we stand. The DR 420, the results of calculating it in accordance with the ways that the state requires us to calculate it, it actually added $75,897 of revenue over and above what we had used in our previous recommended budget for this coming year. It also reflects a rollback rate of 2.94. That's opposed to 3.1514 that we currently had this past year. So it's about almost, well, you have to really look at that to do the calculations, and why I needed the DR 420 before I could be more certain is I needed to know what the appraiser's office considered additions to the roll versus the reassessed values for those that were taxed last year on their property values. So the reassessments were 7.18% higher than last year's, or increase over last year's roll. This is more in line with what it's been in past years. If you look back, it's been around the 7 to 8% range on reassessment portions. Additions in calculating what we used in the recommended, staff's recommended budget were 1.8% higher at $23 million, which is also more in line with what we've had the past several years. So as a result of that, the $75,000 additional revenue was available to us to make changes to the recommendation. By knowing also with the DR 420, the property appraiser gives us a breakdown of the values in the CRA districts. When I calculated based on the actual values provided by the appraiser, we were $9,562 programmed to transfer from general fund as the city's contribution. We were $9,562 over budgeted. So that basically is a savings, and along with the $75,897 could be applied to changes to the budget. The final item is we got a renewal premium from our employee health insurance carrier that came in at 5.75% above last year. Our previous budget recommendation numbers assumed at 15%, which is what we've done in the past as a kind of a routine to make sure we had ample money. I didn't have to at this point have to go back and find a substantial money to cover any possible increase. They have been asked to go back to the insurance carrier and see if they can't sharpen their pencil, in the sense we hate to just take their the first number they threw at us, but we are sure now that we would be safe with the 5.75% increase over this last year's premium as our budgeted number. If you want to stop me at this point to answer any questions about that specific area.
Yeah, Ken, can you just, reassessments, so, explain that, yeah, it's on. Can you just explain that in a little more detail? What you're saying is that we added $90 million in value due to reassessments?
Correct.
What the heck would get reassessed that increases values $90 million? I mean, I'm asking, I see a lot of houses, can't imagine houses got reassessed upward by $90 million? It's commercial property?
It's a little of both. So if you have homes that were sold that are no longer homesteaded, could be a significant increase in that.
Chad dropped, lost the homestead and increased, huh?
So that could be when they got reassessed off of homestead, you know, they're capped at a 3% rate. And so you lose that homestead, it goes to the market value rate at that point. So that's part of it. And the market's been going up. Homes have been selling and increasing, you know, over the last few years in price. So homes that are second homes, which we have a lot, are not affected by homestead exemption. And so they become eligible for that maximum of 10% change as property values increase. So that it's a mixture of loss of homestead, properties that are not homesteaded, and a very good market.
So that really isn't just commercial property, that's a mix of everything.
A mix of everything.
And you're saying that $90 million is like closer to what trend had been?
Correct.
Wow. Seems awful high, but, okay.
Do you know what percentage or houses are homesteaded? I know last time you said it was about a quarter. Do you know a percentage? Has it dropped?
I don't really get those kind of detailed numbers from the property appraiser. I know a number of years ago, I tried to gather additional details in order to see that, and I got a bunch of information, but it didn't really give me a firm answer, and it's...
Okay. Thank you.
They provide what they're required to provide, so. Okay?
Ken, the insurance, is that for property and employee insurance?
No, that's only for the employee group insurance that we provide.
Okay. And that does provide enough, the funding for it, the
Sorry?
required funding for future payouts, claims, the premium.
The premium.
I don't know what the contract says as far as what you're required to maintain.
They're not self-insured, they're fully insured.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like your
Okay.
personal health insurance. You pay the premium, and what's covered is covered, and
Yeah, you're fully insured. They don't operate self-insured for health insurance.
Okay.
They're fully insured.
Never mind.
that's correct. Okay?
Yeah, that gets you in trouble.
Were there any major changes made to the health insurance, or is it basically the same coverage that they've had in the past?
This is based on continuing the coverage at the same provisions.
Good. Please continue.
Okay. So since our recommendation was first submitted to the Budget Committee, we had new information come up about some of the accounts. Some of the department heads came back to us and suggested that we might have, in our process, cut them too severely. So we listened to some of those explanations, and some we bought into. But for the most part, it was, well, I can go through some of the larger items. The $75,000 addition, we've got a police officer that's going to enter the drop program, and when he does, we will pay out his, the eligible amount of vacation and sick leave, just like he was terminating from the city, and he starts over then with new accruals. We did not consider that in the recommended budget, but we do know that he's planning to enter the drop program on October 25th, so that will fall under this budget year when he did provide for the payout. We picked up $16,000 because we had a dispatcher that had elected a higher priced coverage, for more than just a single employee. So we had to increase, or we were able to reduce that budget because of that election and having the lesser cost. The Leisure Services Department, we had taken the overtime account, even though we want to make the departments accountable, and we had reduced this overtime to more of a little bit, well, quite a bit less actually than even his actual experience. So he convinced myself that he needs that level of overtime and to do a minor adjustment. $8,000 of the 10 is because of the overtime. And we looked at his other supply and equipment accounts, and there was probably 12 or 15 of those accounts that we, at the last minute, as we were in the rush to balance the budget and get the document out on the street, we probably cut that too severely. So we wanted to reinstate him probably for about half of what we had cut out previously. Our health reimbursement account, we, looking at the most current information on that, we were probably presuming that that would cost us more than we had programmed in the recommendation. So altogether, $66,599 has been added to the various departments and their accounts from the recommendation. We also had a chance to get another month or so of revenue collections in this year, and based on that, some of these utility accounts and state accounts are not looking as robust. So I'd like to pull those estimates down by $105,000 just to be more conservative and not take a chance that I'm going to be in the hole as we go into next year with our revenue estimates, and can hopefully.
Those bottom three, are those the Department of Revenue estimates? Has the Department of Revenue put their estimates out for the state shared revenues yet?
We don't have that. It doesn't come until like August.
They're usually under anyway.
And I've not found it to be reliable anyway.
They're not very close.
Now, I do a calculation on each of these accounts where we log in every month what we received.
Historical averages are best.
And we go back for 15 years probably on month-to-month calculations, and I can review those. And the basic method I use is take the year-to-date and then assume at least the same amount of revenue as we received in the later months of the year last year. But then I do use a little bit of adjustment just based on expectations. If they've been 5 or 10% higher every month than the previous years, then I can assume that probably the future months this year will be higher. And generally, on all of these particular accounts anyway, I use a 4% assumption that next year it'll be 4% higher than this year. Here again, because that's the way the trend has been. I'm sorry. I guess I'm not outspoken enough during the daytime, because when I have these night meetings and have to speak a lot, it catches up with me. So pulling all the previous slides together, $171,599 of new sources were available since our original recommendation. As I detailed out for you. 66,000 were revisions to expenditure account, or used for revisions to expenditure accounts, and 105 to reduce other revenue accounts. So even at this point, we have a draft budget that is balanced, assuming the 2.94 rollback rate. As we do or have done for a number of years now, we will recommend to the City Council on July 24th that they adopt the same millage as this year, 3.1514. And that's basically as a precaution between now and the time of the September public hearings when they have to adopt a final millage rate. Should something unexpected reveal itself, or should, after our city council presentation, someone wants to increase the budget and they want to use additional ad valorem taxes as a means of doing that, we'd be in a position not to be set with the proposed millage, what's advertised on the trim notice at the 2.94, and to be in a quandary because you'd have to advertise or notify each property taxpayer by first-class mail that you were going to go above the rollback rate. So just as a precaution not to get into that situation, we would basically be doing what we're doing tonight with y'all and saying we want to set it at 3.1514 for the trim notice purposes, with a full expectation that we will come in with a final budget of 2.94, barring any kind of additional events that happen between now and the time it's adopted in September. So that...
Ken, how much would that generate, the difference between the proposed and the current that you're suggesting?
How much total?
Dollars, roughly. Trying to get the magnitude of the min-max, if you will.
It's about 1/5 of a mil. You know how much revenue 1 mil generates? You're speaking of the difference between the 2.94 and the 3.1514, right?
Yes.
Yeah, it's about... It would be about 20% of a mil.
Okay, our prior year proceeds were $3,974,000. Our proceeds with the yeah, it's roughly $1 million, but I can tell the proceeds from ad valorem taxes now at the 2.94 would be $3,881,000 versus what did you say? $3,974,000. So it's actually less dollars than last year from ad valorem taxes. It's about $7,000 less revenue than we had last year from ad valorem.
Now, the number you have in the budget here for estimated ad valorem revenue is at 2.94, correct?
Yes, that is correct.
Okay.
The $3,881,000 is as a result of the 2.94.
That's about $1.3 million a mil. So 20% of that be a little bit less than $200,000. That's the number you were asking about, Harry. Right. Not that much.
Okay, now I have a question. What are we going to do with the extra $75,000 from the reassessments? Is it kind of shuffled in between the budget? I mean, if we haven't changed it and we have 75,000 extra, where did we put it?
It's in the
Which I just,
estimated revenue for ad valorem tax at 2.94 mils.
Her question is, if I may, Mr. Chair, is she want to know what the 75,000, in the previous slide we talked about, we reallocated some overtime and some other budgets to balance their budgets, to be able to produce, to maintain the parks like he's maintaining them and some other, so the money was reallocated into budgets that we had to severely cut in order to reach that rollback. When we had that additional revenue, we were able to then put back some of the bleeding that we had caused in those departments to help them be successful. So the money was just reallocated where it was cut before.
Okay, thank you.
That helps, thank you.
Yes, it did.
I have a quick question, Ken. In your detail here, you're showing $75,000 for the drop program, for the payouts from the drop program that we're going to have to, there's an extra cost of $75,542, but in the detail of the budget, I only see one officer getting the drop program at $55,000. Where's that other $20,000?
Those are two separate, Mr. Chairman. So the police chief is retiring.
Right.
So that's her payout for her retiring.
I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the drop.
Right, and so the drop is the 75 that's different than the 55.
I know that, but it's only showing 55 in here for the drop
And
payout.
edit that.
But on the PowerPoint, it's showing 75. Am I missing another officer or something?
well, where you see the $55,750 for the drop program, that is only the regular pay. That does not include the benefits. the
Okay, so all
FICA
the
and the-
benefits associated. Okay, thank you.
All good? Not yet.
That concludes my presentation on the changes we've made, so.
We're almost there. Then if that concludes, now we're at discussions by members, and I will start down with Andrea Ring.
Not now, thank you.
Nothing? Amber?
I don't have any questions at this time. Thank you.
Harry?
Just one question. Under the community development, can you tell me again what the increase in the consultant fees are, what they're for?
The Community Development Department, the consultant fees, I think, were $40,000 is what we budgeted. And
you got a proposal of 120,000?
That is for our update of the master plan, the comp plan.
Comp plan.
the comprehensive plan
Comprehensive plan is due in
update.
2020 to be redone.
Okay. That's all I had.
Okay. Ed?
No, I'm good at the moment.
Bruce?
Yes, just a couple of quick questions, the MI, well, we're talking about contractual services. Can you go back to the detail for MIS page 34, Ken? What's the $40,000 for contractual services?
That is for a consultant to come in and help to redesign the website.
That's the redesign, okay. I just didn't remember that. And then let me ask you another question. For the airport revenue, how's the pickleball court going to generate revenue? It's not open to people to just walk in anymore, huh?
Well, the properties we have at the airport that are used for the golf course and now the pickleball will pay rent to the airport fund. In fact, we actually go to the council with resolution setting that rental rate.
I'm sorry, explain to me how the pickleball courts are going to generate revenue. I don't understand that. How do you
Charge
pay
people to
rent?
use it.
We're charging people, we don't charge people to use them down at Schumann?
No, we're not charging them to use the pickleball courts, but we still have to pay rent to the airport to use them. So
So the city will just pay the rent?
That's correct.
Out of the general fund?
Payment out of general fund,
We're
yes.
not charging people to play pickleball,
We
right?
haven't recommended charging to play pickleball at this point.
As opposed, we're going to charge skateboarders, right, to skate.
We've always charged skateboarders.
Oh, I didn't know that. Yeah.
Yeah,
That
it's
shows
always-
how old I am. I don't skateboard.
Yeah, there's always been a charge. There's a charge at the tennis courts, a small fee at the tennis courts. There's a small fee at the adult learning center that goes to them. So there's some minor fees, but we haven't proposed any fees for playing pickleball. There's a proposal to charge for the lights, if they want to play at night, for the lights through a token to help offset the cost for the electricity of the lights, a minimal fee for that, but for actual playing pickleball, no.
Okay. Thank you.
Nancy?
Yes, on that same subject, with the skate park, we're getting rid of the skate park attendants, and people are going to have to come into City Hall and get some kind of thing showing they've signed a liability waiver. Who's going to monitor that the people at the skate park have actually done that?
The staff that's working out there that maintain the fields.
So the parks employees are going to have to do that?
There'll be periodic checks, yes.
So we'll have to pay overtime on the weekends? No?
We won't be paying overtime on the weekends.
Do we have any liability when someone gets
Not-
hurt out there and they don't have one of these waivers?
Not according to our attorney. The waiver just merely gives us some added protection, but it's just like going to the beach, swim at your own risk. We have that same.
So it's not going to have any effect on our insurance premiums that that's now open and there's no monitoring of who's got a waiver or not?
No. And according to the research that we've done, no. And other cities have done the same thing. Some don't have waivers at all, and they're doing it. So.
I know this has been brought up before, but
Oh,
I
I
just wanted to make
It's just
sure.
we make $10 and we're paying hundreds of dollars.
Yeah,
in
we've
staff.
never made any money on the skate park since day one.
Right, but it just becomes
It's never produced an income.
Yeah, and we don't expect it to produce an income, but it shouldn't, in this case, it shouldn't continue to drain the coffers when it's really,
Not
a
necessary.
lot of times, there's nobody there actually skating.
And one other question on the travel and per diem under the council, that's for them going somewhere else. They haven't increased their travel and per diem for local travel, right?
That is correct. That's
Okay.
over and above the stipend that they receive on a regular basis.
That stays the same. This is added training that they'll be going out of town for, that's added for.
Correct.
Okay. All right, that's it.
On page 13 of the draft budget, under city goals, there is a statement saying establish vegetation maintenance policy for city's waterways. Is there a document prepared, or do you propose to call for observations from the citizens to prepare such a policy document?
I'm sorry, page 13?
Page 13, under city goals,
Okay.
establish vegetation maintenance policy for city waterways. So what my question is there a document ready, or do you propose to call for ideas from the public to prepare such a document? What is the position?
You want me to answer that, Ken?
Please
So-
do, yes.
In April, the city council directed me to do an alternative to glyphosate or chemical spraying, and I've been working on that and doing research, and we'll be presenting that to the city council once it's completed. So a goal is to develop that policy and have it adopted by city council. We're doing the research on it now, and as I've said, and the council has said, if there's any alternatives, please provide them to me. What I don't want is that I'll say, you can do something else. I don't need email saying there's other things you can do. If someone has a specific contractor, a specific chemical, or a specific treatment that the city can use, please email me that information so that I can research it. Just saying that other people are doing other things doesn't help me. I hear that a lot. Well, there's other people doing other stuff, but I call those other people and they're going, yeah, not so much. So I want the information. I beg for the information. If anybody has it, please send it to me. I will look into it.
No, what I think is that if a policy document is available, then the public will be able to make observations on it. so that you probably can improve on it with the ideas who know about the subject.
Yes, it will be presented at a city council meeting for them to discuss, and the public will be there to discuss it. It won't be ready until, it won't be viewed until it's done, because it's a work in progress at this point.
Okay.
Still verifying pricing, still verifying what can be used in certain locations, what can't be. There's a lot of information and that's being gathered, fact finding.
Okay,
so.
thank you.
I would add that we're going to be working on the accomplishments and goals. Some of these are not really staff's total recommendation at this point. They were just, we were mostly focused on just the numbers, so.
Well, I'm very satisfied that we're fully funded at rollback. And I anxiously await looking at the capital improvement budget. So I guess that's it for members' discussion. The next on the agenda is discuss the meeting
Mr.
dates.
Chairman, one last quick question. On
ahead,
the
your turn.
capital improvements, does that look like it's pretty well taken care of, what's proposed in the budget? Or do you foresee?
To my knowledge, with the information we have at this point, I would say it's pretty much a solid recommendation from the staff.
Great, that's what I'd like to hear. Thank you.
Okay. Discuss the next meeting date. We have a meeting scheduled, I think the next one is July 15th.
Correct.
And then August the 5th. But I personally don't think we need either one of those, since we can have everything wrapped up and finished for the 8/19 meeting, which will still be before it goes to city council for the final decision. We'll still have 9 days. So I think we can cancel those other 2 meetings in the middle there. What does the committee think about that? Because we're not going to have the information, and it gives Ken a chance to get everything done instead of preparing agendas for this.
Yeah.
Well, won't you need the August 5th for the
No,
review of the third quarter?
no, we'll do that on the 19th.
But the city is going to be approving it on the 14th.
So what? We can do all that, put it all on the 19th, and just cancel those 2 meetings in the middle, and give Ken more time to work on what he needs to be doing instead of preparing an agenda for a meeting that we really don't need.
Yeah, but what Terry's saying is we need to approve that third quarter budget amendment before it goes to council.
Right.
Right, we're supposed to review and approve it before it goes to council. That's our recommendation.
Well, if you want to have it, I guess you can. I don't know any time that we've ever changed one of those. That's a matter of history.
If the committee couldn't approve the third quarter report to the 19th, it would then be on the agenda for the city council on the 28th.
Well, that would work for me.
Yeah, that'd be fine for me too.
That makes sense.
And that way we could just cancel the 15th and August 5th meeting and have our next meeting after tonight on August the 19th and just do it all at once. That makes perfect sense to me, right? Is everybody okay with that?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay. So we'll cancel the 7/15 and we'll cancel 8/5. And you can rework the agenda there, whatever you need to do, Ken, to fit it in.
Thank you.
And our next meeting will be August the 19th, Monday evening. I don't guess we need any other discussion about the meeting dates. Comments by staff? Ken or Paul, you got anything to add?
It could be appropriate if you might want to entertain a motion as far as the recommendation to council for the proposed millage.
On the proposed millage? Okay, the staff's recommendation is that we approve 3.1514 for trim purposes, but the budget is funded at 2.94, and I will entertain a motion and a second for that.
I make a motion that we approve or recommend the staff's recommendation.
Second.
Second?
Amber. Yeah.
Amber? Okay, all those in favor signify with aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries unanimously. See, I voted for that this time, Ken.
Thanks for your consideration on all those items.
Any other comments from staff? Paul, you got anything you'd like to add?
No, I appreciate y'all's input and what you do to try to help us work through this process. It shows the
Okay.
city's transparency and allowing the public comment.
And I see no public here tonight, so there's no public comment. So being nothing further for the good of the order, this meeting stands adjourned.